the reality on the ground is very different from orders perhaps passed by the Supreme Court, which we've all agreed is the right thing and must be implemented going forward. But how will that happen? You, Monica's also raised very important point about, you know, a lot of this patriarchy begins at home. It's rampant in our homes. Men are not doing co-parenting. I want to go across to Richard Paiva. He's an athlete. He's joining us from Australia, where he's going to be competing in the Ironman race tomorrow. He's the father of 2 girls. He runs a professional training company that is committed to the overall development of young girls from 6 to 11 years through sport, and it emphasizes on sport that is that conventionally girls don't play. Like, I'm talking about football. I know it's changing, but he's part of that change. Richard, first, your reaction to the Supreme Court order, specifically to the response that men cannot take orders from women.
First of all, I think it's a fantastic decision. It made me smile really wide when I saw the news and I read about it. So from a personal point of view, I feel that this is the right direction. I understand what the army has to say about this, because you know, we're talking of battle, we're talking of the psychological effect of battle, and I'm not an expert in this, but I would actually look into this as change also brings about resistance.
Yeah.
But the important thing is to engage in discussion. Yes, you know, what the army says is right. But at the end of the day, it's if we as a society are giving our girls more responsibility to be confident, to be more aware of themselves and the capacities, to go out more often, and to believe in themselves, I feel that the position in not just the army, but anywhere
Richard,
would be
fine. But General Kadyan says there's an ugly side to the army. That's a quote. The government said in court that there's no infrastructure in forward border areas, minimal facilities, habitat, hygiene. Would you honestly, please, honestly tell us, if your daughter said she wanted to go into the army, and today one step forward for women, tomorrow maybe they're fighting in combat roles, would you be okay with that?
No, as I said, and I will stick to this, is that I think I will speak on my behalf, is that I look at all this as first as we humans. You know, the whole gender construct is male and female. This is an academic, but for me, it is, if my daughters want to join the army, they join the army. You know, if this is the reality of what the path that they choose to, that's the reality.
Okay.
You know,
okay.
So
you run
I as much as I understand what the army says, personally as a father, if my 2 daughters choose to go into the army, that's the reality. Are they aware of what they're getting into? Yes, and then so be it. It's
okay,
fine.
So women are aware of what we're getting into, so they should be supported by the government. Richard, you run a sports program for girls called Artofsports. Why? Why only for girls?
I think, first of all, you're right on all counts. It was a personal decision by my wife and me to start the Artosport. The reason to start was, generally speaking, in our society, the opportunities given to girls are far lesser than given to boys. And especially when it comes to using their limbs or expressing themselves or just being able to vent, you know, call it any kind of feelings. And so we started the Artosport as an early intervention program in emotions and feelings for girls as young as 4 years old to as old as 16 years old. Goal of the Artosport is an overall aspect. So we get girls in different age groups to come and participate in team activities. Could be football drills, basketball drills, athletic drills, and get them to understand their own capabilities physically, you know, and while that happens, to also understand and self-introspect on themselves emotionally and mentally, so that they are able to understand the capacities something
All right.
which is sorely lacking in our society.
Richard, part of the change that we're seeing across India, where fathers coming forward, pushing their daughters. Thank you for your time. All the best for your Ironman race tomorrow. And I know that Richard also, part of his program, has a father-daughter program where they do things like even, baking pancakes, baking cookies, unconventional things, so that fathers even know that this is not rocket science. They should all be able to do this with their children. Thank you so much. Change is happening.